Hello everyone, my name is Opeoluwa Oni, your real estate cash flow king, and I'm here again to educate you about something that is so dear to my heart and so dear to your heart too. And follow me as we look at how you can build your first home by doing it yourself. Okay, so I'll break it down the step by step you can follow, that you should follow in building your first home without any ambiguity. We'll look at it step by step, and this is coming from a place and an understanding that in this part of the world, owning a home is not just owning a home. Owning a home is a status symbol. Owning a home, it shows the level of achievement that you have, or who you are, or a stage that you are in your life. So our being, our who we are, most of the time, depending on how you are brought up, is usually a reflection of whether you own a house or not. So I understand our emotional attachment to owning a house. So we are going to be looking at how you can achieve this and how you can make this easy, a step-by-step approach. So you might be wondering, is this video really for me? Yeah, okay. You might be wondering, do I really need this? So let me tell you this. So this video is for anybody that wants to build their own house. And you have to have this understanding at the back of your mind that your first home does not necessarily have to be your dream home. So what we are going to be looking at here are basic things that a house is supposed to have, right? So those are the basic things that we are, so guide is more or less like a guide for a first-time homeowner. That is what we are going to be looking at today. And I've been doing this for 12 years plus. I've built quite a number of houses. I've helped people, I've guided people, and I've seen people achieve this over the years. So number one thing that we are going to be looking at today, I always try as much as possible to itemize things, is the fact that the value lies in the land. The value lies in the land. It is the land that carries the value. You need to have that understanding. It is the house, the land that carries the value, not necessarily the house on it. That's why you see places where we have a lot of urban regeneration that is ongoing. You realize that some houses, 50 years old houses, 30 years old houses, 40 years old houses, you pull them down and you start a fresh new building on them. So it is the land that carries the value. So our assumption number one here is the fact that this is a budget-friendly land that you've bought. Let's say it's 60 by 120, or it's 50 by 100, or it's even a square 50 by 50. All you need to achieve this is just a piece of land. You don't need avalanche of land, volume of land, large size of land. No, you don't need all of that. All you just need is a piece of land. It can be 60 by 120. It can be 50 by 100 by 50. It can be 50 by 50. So remember, this is not your dream home. This is not your country home that you are building. All you are just doing here is a piece of land. And you know, one of the interesting things, especially for those of us that are probably learned, educated, you realize that at some point in Lagos, a lot of homeowners are the uneducated people, because culturally, they understand what I'm about to teach you. You see, it's actually an arc that a lot of people have not paid attention to. So please pay attention to where we're about to go into right now. So it is very, very important. So number one is the land. The land is number one. So you acquire a land, whether you are paying over a period of time or you are paying in piecemeal, acquire land. And when you're acquiring land, make sure you sort out the issue of documentation. You've done the charting. We can't go into all the details. So we are going to also assume that you have bought the land the right way, and that place is a genuine land, right? So that is very, very important. The number two is that you now design a project. You design a project. Of course, you have something at the back of your mind. So for the purpose of planning, your first home should not be a duplex. A simple bungalow can help you achieve this. You can achieve a simple bungalow, 2-bedroom, 2 or 3-bedroom, or even 4-bedroom bungalow on a 50 by 50 plot of land. That's 225 square meters. You might be wondering, yes, it's very possible. We've seen it happen before. It has happened over and over and over again. So the design is the first thing that you need to take care of. So you can get an architect that will help you design something that is very simple, not too much pillar, not too much arc, simple, straightforward, easy to execute, a budget-friendly design. Let me put it that way. A budget-friendly design. Let me put it that way. And at this point, I want to introduce a book to us. If you can get this book, Home Ownership Made Easy, by my CEO, my boss, my mentor, Oladipo Clement. He wrote this book some couple of years ago. It can equally help you and support to this video. Okay, so that's by the way. So after getting the land, you need a simple design. You need what? A simple design. And that design will be guided by the purpose of why you are building. I mean, land and design. So the purpose of why you are building. So why are you building this? Am I building this because I want to live there? So the fact that you bought a land, let's say you are staying, you work at the central business district of a city, for instance, but you couldn't afford to build a house at the central business district of that particular city. What you can do is you can build a house outskirts of that place. And if you build something good, it will still command a good rental income, and it can even serve as a vacation home. It depends on some of the things that you are putting in, and it will not be over budget. That's why I said it must be very, very simple. And we need to understand something too. In this part of the world, we still use brick and cement and plaster and all of those things for our construction. So we are not looking at wood, or we are not using laterite in this form of construction. All we are looking at is the brick, right? So we've looked at a lot of assumptions. So your design must be budget friendly, your design must be very simple, and your design must be easy to execute. So after you sort out the design, you then need a QS to do an estimate for you. So this design, if I'm going to build this design, interpret this design, how much will it cost me? So that is very, very important. A QS can help you to do that. However, because you see, this is a do-it-yourself approach, right? It's a do-it-yourself approach. You can get experienced artisan, bricklayers, because these guys have been doing these things for years. They have the quantity and material. By saying the design, they know how many blocks will finish it. For instance, now, a 2-bedroom, for a 2-bed, you don't need more than 2,500 to 3,000 blocks. 6 inches or 9 inches block. For those that are watching from Nigeria, you understand this. For 3-bed, and of course, sizes are relative. So for 3-bed, you don't need more than 4,000. For 4-bedroom, note the word, just bungalow, you don't need more than, let's say, 5,000 blocks. So if you want to, erect 5,000 blocks, 4,000 blocks, 3,000 blocks, there's a standard number of cement you will use. There's a standard volume of sand that you will also use. So these are the things that a QS or an experienced artisan can help you to develop a quote for. However, you need to play careful here. If you can afford to get a QS, that's very, very good. And after you know the number of blocks that you can get, and you know all these things, you look at your budget. Okay, so let's take for instance now, by the time it's okay for me to finish this house with the bill that is before me, I'll be needing, let's say 10 million naira. I mean, just for the purpose of ease of calculation, let's say 10 million naira. So you ask yourself, can I go ahead with this? So budget, which is the main thing that you need to consider. So budget is not just a spending plan. It is also an income plan. So where am I going to fund this project from? Where am I going to fund this project from? You need to ask yourself all those questions, because you need to know and ask yourself, do I need extra source of income at this point in time? So do I need extra source of income? My current income, can it fund the 10 million naira that I need? Remember, the 10 million is just hypothetical for ease of calculation. So you need to ask yourself that question. Do I need this 10 million naira? Or how do I fund this 10 million naira? Can my current income finance this 10 million naira? Then you can now look at different financing options. I have a video that talked about different financing options that are available, that of course you can look at that. And there are also creative ways to creative financing that you can also look at, things like Ajo and all of those things that you can look at, and it can help you a great deal when it comes to financing your project. So now that we are at this stage, let's move to the next stage, and we are going to be moving at a speed right now. Now that we have looked at all these budgets, design, and all of that, the next thing is approval. Of course, you don't want to start building without getting the necessary approval. So don't move to site without getting the necessary approval. Remember, this is a do-it-yourself approach. So go to your local government, go to the town planning authority within your local area, and they'll give you all the things that you need, and they will advise you whether you can move to site while the process is still ongoing. Most of the time, it will require that you submit some of your drawings, you pay some levies and all of those things. Do well to pay all those things so that it will not, of course, they won't cause the arm and the leg and all of those things. So it is very, very important. Do well. Familiarize yourself with all the people, probably the zonal officer in charge of your project. Familiarize yourself with them and be friendly with them, because you will need them eventually in the future. So after that, they now move to the real construction. But before you move to site, even though it's a simple design, get a structural engineer that will help you to look at your drawing and tell them, okay, of course, get a structural, you are not employing the person can be a consultant on the job. Even though you are using a direct labor in the local palace, the direct labor approach, and the bricklayer, the artisans are the people that are going to be working for you. So when you are, let's say, you use a QS, for instance. Let's say you use a QS. After using a QS, I'm going to give you this advice. What you can do is that all the elements within that project, get a different quote from minimum 4 or 3 artisans. Take for instance now, a QS will give you breakdown, but will give you the sum total of what the work will cost you. However, a bricklayer will give you for the bricklayer work, an aluminum person will give you quote for the aluminum work, an electrical person will give you quote for the electrical work, a tiler will give you quote for tiling, plumbing, different stuff like that. So get in different 3 people. Make sure minimum should be 3. You can get up to 5 so that you can compare quantity and cost. Remember, this is a do-it-yourself approach, right? This is a small scale project that you are doing. So it's not necessarily a huge project, it's a small scale project. It's your first home, it's not your second home, and our budget is confined, right? So these are the things you need to do. Like I mentioned earlier, you sit down with a civil engineer, a building consultant that will help you to supervise, because I'm assuming here that your specialty is not construction. So the person will help you to supervise the technicalities when you are constructing. That is very, very important, so that you will not be sleeping at home one day and the fence will just collapse. So it is very, very important. I will still together. Okay. So after doing all of these things, the next approach is that I'm assuming that you are making this money in piecemeal. It's not that you have stored up funds somewhere. So if you have stored up funds somewhere, congratulations. So you can buy up all your materials at a go. So one of the do-it-yourself hack that you can use is by negotiating with all the building materials and develop a payment plan with them. Somebody might say, is that possible? Yes, it is very, very possible. For instance, now let's say you are going for a 3-bedroom stuff, for instance. So you need about 4,000 blocks. So this 4,000 block, we start it from foundation, take it to lintel, and it will also do the leveling after the lintel, and it will also sort out your sockaway. So out of this 4,000 block, you might be needing maybe 2.5, 6 inches, 1.5, 9 inches. So it depends, because you have to do your sockaway, you still need some other stuff, different places where you'll be needing some of these blocks. So for instance, now you can decide to use a 9 inches block for the foundation, so that because of the weight of the building, and then use a 6 inches for dividing all the rooms. So this is a do-it-yourself approach. And note what I'm saying, all of these that I'm saying are just advices. So you can decide to go through with it, but these are some of the things we have implemented and we have advised people, and they are building a solidly firm structure that is still very much standing. So now you have assembled all your contractors, you have assembled the building material team and everything. So now the next thing is, while you are still planning your construction before you move to site, I will advise that you take a course. You can look at an online course on crash course on construction, so that you can understand the basics. It is very, very important. You can look at a do-it-yourself small course online and all of that. And if you are not too learned, just get somebody that you can trust that can take decision on your behalf, because at every point in time there's going to be need for you to take decisions. So that knowledge will help you a great deal, okay? So that you can stay within budget too. It is very, very important. And before you move to site, this is Nigeria. So you need to understand what are the requirements. This is not government require. However, this is not a government requirement. However, these are local requirements before you start construction, so that some boys will not come and disturb you. And settle all those local requirements, negotiate with them if necessary. Anything that you need to do, make sure you carry it out. Please make sure you carry it out. That is very, very important. Then, of course, you start the work in phases. So now you are moving to site. Start foundation. Even if you have all the pool of funds with you, start foundation. What are the lessons? And note something, you are the one handling procurement. You are 100% in charge of procurement. If, depending on the leisure of time that you have, you can sit down and supervise too. Or if you do not have, get somebody in whose judgment you can trust that will handle supervision for you. I hope this is sinking in. That's why I'm taking it slowly, step by step. Then after foundation, you start to do the block work. Depending on the type of foundation you want to do the block work. And after doing the block work, then you move to the lintel, the windows, and every other thing. Of course, all these measurements, the setting out that will be done before you start the foundation, the bricklayer will be able to interpret them for you. Then you start building gradually, phase by phase by phase by phase, and carry your consultant along. The consultant might not charge you a arm and a leg, but carry them along so that they will be able to advise and see the quality of work that is being done. And of course, after baby foundation, let the consultant come around, let him see. After getting to before roofing, after getting to lintel, let them come and see. Then after the block work, the next thing is all the electrical and the plumbing will set in. Then you do your roofing, depending on the type of roofing you want to do. The cheapest one, in this case, I would advise the long span type of roofing. It's cheap, cheap to maintain, and very easy to maintain. You can do that to help you to save cost significantly. You use less wood and less roofing sheets too. So that is also very, very important. So you do it in phases. And let's now assume that, let's say you're 10 million naira, for one reason or the other, because this is Nigeria, inflation happens. So how not to have an abandoned project is you need to keep track of your budget versus reality. So what you are spending versus what you budgeted for, it is very, very important. So you are keeping track. So if you have done roofing, probably you are plastering. So instead of plastering both inside and outside, why not plaster the inside first, then plaster the outside later when you know your spending is already overshooting the budget? Why not finish one room first before you finish the all the whole rooms? So you'll be able to, the house can still be useful and be serving a purpose, and it will not be an abandoned project. Because I've seen situations whereby people will just build, and the fund finished, and you realize that some of the things they've even done is a waste of money. For instance, now, by the time you are rounding up the foundation, while you are doing the foundation, they can be digging the sockaway. So the sand from the sockaway can be used to do the backfilling for the foundation. So these are native intelligence that you can use. It will help you to reduce the cost of filling for the foundation. So these are things you can implement, and when you are implementing them, it will go a long way in saving you cost. I'm not a civil engineer, but I have done this over and over and over and over again. So the next thing we are going to be looking at are interior work. So these interiors and finishing. So these are things that usually cost a arm and a leg. So things like tiles, things like internal doors, external doors, and you can be doing them in phases. And there are Nigerian alternatives that are of high quality too that you can use. Visit the market yourself. For instance, if you are in Lagos, Mushin, you must know the Mushin market very, very well. And it will help you to compare price. It will help you to know where to buy from, when to buy, and who to buy from. That is also very, very important. And you can do your interior at the minimal level. For instance, now, instead of doing a POP ceiling, you can decide to do a slate ceiling, and you can screed it. It will still give you the POP feel. So these are some of the things that you can do. You can decide to do POP in your living room and then slate in every other room. So these are some of the things that you can do. Then, while constructing, let's go back to our piece of land. Let's say you are building on this piece of land. So let's say you have of course, the fact that you are building your first home, you can just decide to build a bungalow at the back like this and still leave the space in front for future construction, right? The fact that you are leaving a space in front for future construction, what that means is that you need to take care of this space in front. So you can use it as a mini garden, as a landscape, green area, plant things there, so that it will not just look like an abandoned place and reptiles will now begin to creep into your house and all of that. And most of the time too, what happens is that we don't often fence, because sometimes cost of fencing can even be more than cost of building your 2-bedroom. So you can be doing your fencing too gradually for the purpose of security, because at this point in time now, you're already thinking of moving into the house. Do you understand? You're already thinking of moving into the house. And this happens a lot too. Most of the time when you are doing construction, there are things that are left behind. So I always advise is that, because you still have future construction that you still want to do a makeshift store, like a store in the corner of the house, so that you can keep some of those materials. Maybe there's granite that are left over, bag them very well. You can't keep cement for long, and there are other things. So keep them so that you can still have to use them. You can still use them in the future. It will help you a great deal. I hope you've gained one or two things. I know that you might be wondering, can it be this simple? Can it be this straightforward? Yes, it is. It can be this simple. It can be this straightforward. You need to put in the work, because it's do it yourself. Instead of paying a consultant or We've put all the caveats in place. We've put all the assumptions in place. But if you need further guidance, you can chat us up, drop comments, and reach out to us on whatever platform you are getting this video from. We will be able to help you and guide you. My name still remains Okpe Oluwa Oni, and that will be all for now.